All right, let's jump right into this explainer and dismantle a massive assumption about corporate culture. We hear so much about the power of the now, but what if demanding your team live in the present is actually the exact thing tearing them apart?
Okay, so take a deep breath, right? Center yourself in the moment. We've literally all seen the standard corporate ideal plastered on wellness brochures and pushed at executive retreats. The foundational assumption here is that mindfulness, being totally, completely in the now, works for absolutely everyone. It's treated as this ultimate universal key to employee engagement, productivity, the whole shebang. But, as you're going to see, the data tells a completely different story.
Take this sharp clinical number, negative 0.077. This is the Pearson correlation between present orientation and what Spiral Dynamics calls the red vMEME. Think of a vMEME as a core psychological value system. The red worldview is intensely driven by power, survival, and dominance. For people operating in this mindset, being told to live in the present doesn't engage them at all. It actually repels them.
Now, you might be thinking, is this just some weird, localized quirk? Actually, scratch that. It's anything but. To really understand why this matters, we have to ground it in the hard data. This anomaly meets strictly rigorous reliability criteria on a massive global scale. We're talking 88 countries, 21 languages, and nearly 1,500 respondents. Mathematically speaking, that universal rule of mindfulness is fundamentally flawed. And this really hits the nail on the head as to why that correlation is negative. The red vMEME basically looks at contemplative presence and sees complete passivity. Think about it. If you tell a red-dominant, highly competitive team to just be present and aware, they're hearing, wait around and do nothing. They don't want calm stillness. They require power-focused action and immediate impact to feel engaged. For them, the present isn't a meditation cushion, it's a battlefield.
Section 1. Fractured meaning across systems. What happens when the present orientation signal is removed?
So, let's break this down. If you pull the plug on that now signal, what actually happens? Well, take the purple view world. This system is deeply tribal, heavily focused on tradition and community. For them, stripping away the now literally destroys their rituals. They rely on synchronous moments, like a morning huddle, to feel safe. Without the present, they completely lose their sacred cohesion.
Now flip over to the blue worldview, which is all about order, rules, and building a righteous future. For blue, losing that present orientation means losing procedural focus. The present is where tasks are executed, where discipline is maintained, and schedules are strictly followed. Shatter their present focus, and you shatter their operational checkpoints, totally disrupting their sense of stability.
But then you have the green mindset, and their reaction is entirely different. The green vMEME absolutely thrives on empathy and harmony. For them, losing the present means losing psychological safety and relational attunement with their team. If they can't be mindfully present, they feel completely alienated and disconnected.
Section 2. The operational escalation, from misalignment to systemic collapse.
So here's where things get super messy. Leaders often misread these dynamics, forcing mandatory mindfulness that alienates their teams, and it triggers this rapid domino effect. Step 1. Signal misalignment. Leadership asks for presence, but the team hears contradictory demands. Step 2. Motivation misfires. The achievers check out while power seekers rebel. Step 3. Cultural fragmentation into siloed realities. And boom, Step 4. System distrust. Misinterpreting time literally crashes leadership legitimacy.
Section 3. Predictive system modeling, the algebra of conscience.
To actually prevent this kind of collapse, standard engagement surveys, the whole "are you happy today" thing, they just don't cut it. We need dynamic modeling, like the SD Navigator interface. And what's really fascinating here is how this is built. It uses a 2026 trend called vibe coding, where AI, like Claude, is instructed using natural language to build apps without traditional code. By using system-aware prompts to input specific worldview profiles, like, say, a 0.30 purple or 0.20 red, we can mathematically model an organization's soul to generate incredibly context-sensitive outputs for temporal engagement.
And the engine making all that prediction possible is this elegant little piece of math right here. S of t plus 1 equals the function of S of t plus U of k filtered by context. Or in plain English, the future state equals the current state plus management action run through the filter of cultural context. This formula is basically a superpower. It lets us predict exactly how specific groups will react to management changes way before we ever pull the trigger.
Let me show you exactly how wild this gets in practice with a single management action, instituting an unpaid vacation. If you have a purple mindset team, the model predicts a positive correlation of 0.1542. They actually accept it. To them, it feels like a ritual sacrifice that increases tribal bonding. But then, look at the orange vMEME, those highly strategic, future-focused achievers. They show a negative correlation of 0.1249. They reject it as totally inefficient and will literally start updating their LinkedIn profiles that exact same day. The exact same action bonds one group and actively destroys another.
Which brings us to the big, provocative question you really need to ask yourself as a leader. What breaks when present orientation signals stop being universal in motivation systems? It absolutely challenges us to rethink our go-to engagement strategies. If you aren't considering the distinct temporal realities of your team, whether they're living in the past, sprinting into the future, or completely fracturing in the present, you are flying blind. Think deeply about the psychological time zones of your people. Once you do that, you'll unlock a totally new level of organizational stability.